for our Unit 5 discussion, we were asked to put together a playlist, with a song, at least a song for each stage of development from infancy to emerging adulthood. So I'll be walking you through the songs that I've chosen for those stages. Any information I reference about the stages of development are from our textbook, The Developing Person Through the Lifespan, the 12th edition. So starting out with infancy, I chose the song You Are My Sunshine. So a huge thing in infancy is social and emotional development. When I was young, this was my mom's favorite song to sing to me. And I feel that it encapsulates the nurturing element that is so essential in infancy. So in infancy, we know that babies form attachment with caregivers and really enjoy things like singing because it is soothing and it aids in attachment and bonding as well as language development. You Are My Sunshine encapsulates this idea perfectly because a mother sings it directly to the baby and the lyrics themselves demonstrate the concept of nurture. So I just thought that was kind of the perfect choice. I did choose actual songs from my life that I actually listened to or, for this one heard during that stage of life. So moving on to early childhood, I chose I Wanna Rock by Twisted Sinister. So this song, kind of a funny story. My dad was blasting it in the living room and the song says, I wanna rock, and he repeats it and repeats it. So I ran outside in the front yard and I brought my mother and father an actual rock and I said, here's his rock. Now, will somebody tell him to shut up? And they just thought it was the funniest thing ever. And I didn't understand at the time why, but I definitely do now. So I think that this is really, it represents that pre-operational thinking that we talked so much about in early childhood because, taking song lyrics literally is indicative of pre-operational thinking because, at this age, thinking is not fully abstract or logical. Honorable mention, I would put Bootylicious by Destiny's Child because after the rock story, I remember Beyonce saying, I don't think you're ready for this jelly. And then, I remembered how funny my parents thought it was when I brought them the rock. So I kind of played on that and brought them a jar of jelly. I still didn't fully understand why it was funny. I just I knew she wasn't actually talking about jelly, but I didn't know what she was talking about, so anyways, so moving on to middle childhood, I chose the song Soak Up the Sun by Sheryl Crow. It's just a really feel-good song and it's catchy and repetitive. Me and my mom would listen to it on the way to the pool or the park, and I remember it always put me in a dreamy, imaginative headspace. Retrospectively, as it relates to middle childhood, I would consider this a play mindset, if that makes sense. So something I think that's funny about middle childhood is that the music taste was incredibly random. It could range anywhere from a feel-good song like Soak Up the Sun to a rap or R&B song that you really had no business listening to. I really loved Promiscuous Girl by Nelly Furtado and Baby Got Back by Sir Mix-a-Lot. It didn't matter, the lyrical content was unrelatable because, children this age, they're just very imaginative and they just enjoy the fun aspects of the song, or its energy or its emotion, regardless of a personal connection to the theme. So for adolescence, this was the hardest one. I wasn't really able to choose one song because there was just so much going on in my adolescence. I narrowed it down to 3. So I'm Not Okay by My Chemical Romance, Don't Trust Me by 3OH!3, and I Miss You by Blink-182. So chapter 16 talks about the importance of identity and peer influence. I chose these songs because they're very emotionally charged, angsty, and they have a rebellious feeling to them. I was really into my style and friends at this age. These songs are nostalgic for me now, and I can objectively recognize that they're a bit ridiculous, but at the time, music like this was how I coped and channeled my very, very intense emotions, that are common with puberty and just this age in general, like finding your identity, or at least starting to find your identity. But yeah, I took myself and the music I listened to very seriously. It was literally a part of my identity. I was very into like emo, punk, rock music. My taste became a bit more refined as the years went on, like during adolescence and even into now. But in adolescence, the prevailing theme in music continued to be that emotional intensity, specifically like music with themes of romance or tragedy, rebellion, things like that. So moving on to emerging adulthood, I chose Are You Satisfied by Marina, or as she used to be known, Marina and the Diamonds. This song, honestly, and the entire album that it's from, really embody the tenets of emerging adulthood for me. So the University of New Hampshire.edu describes some characteristics of emerging adulthood as identity exploration, self-focus, possibilities, and optimism. Since we haven't read this far in the book, I did like outsource for this information, but I want to read some of the lyrics from the song. It still kind of like has that rebellious feel, but it's mixed more with like that optimistic, like can-do, goal-driven attitude that you have in emerging adulthood. So some of the lyrics, everybody said Marina is a dreamer. People like to tell you what you're gonna be. It's not my problem if you don't see what I see, and I do not give a damn if you don't believe. Another set of lyrics from the song, high achiever, don't you see, baby, nothing comes for free. They say I'm a control freak driven by a greed to succeed. Nobody can stop me because it's my problem if I want to pack up and run away, so on and so forth. So in emerging adulthood, you know, people prioritize things like goals and achievements. In this stage, we're more independent and autonomous when it comes to decision making. We're able to explore our identity more through career paths, our values, and our relationships. Through exploring new life paths and opportunities, there's a strong sense of optimism about the future that is more grounded than in adolescence. So yeah, just that song, I would listen to it on the way to school. I was very nervous and very fearful about going to school. I was kind of a latecomer to school. I think I started when I was 26. I'm 29 now. But I was fearful, and listening to this song and the album that it's from, The Family Jewels, really, really helps me get pumped to go to school, because even in this album, there's so many themes and so many songs that embody that like feeling of like, I'm gonna be successful, or you know, I'm gonna succeed, like I'm optimistic, but like there's just this underlying theme of also being very fearful while doing that, but kind of overcoming that fear. She talks a lot about like anxieties and like her OCD tendencies, and just it's very like vulnerable and raw album, but it's also very, very motivational at the same time. So that song and the album, The Family Jewels, if I could put the whole thing on the playlist for emerging adulthood, I would. I mean, I guess I can. It's my playlist, but I chose that song specifically. So yeah, that's my playlist. I think, what is it, like maybe like 7 or 8 songs long, but I think the discussion question was if the songs that I chose like correlated with like appropriate development through the stages, and I think they definitely do, especially because I did choose songs that I actually listened to or that were actually relevant to me during these stages. I was definitely able to like pinpoint where they were, you know, like how they were on par with like normal development, essentially. All right, thank you.